Hello, and welcome to another episode of Deepen with Christina. I'm your host, Christina Weber, founder of WeDeepen and leader of the Love Club. This podcast is everything about love, intimacy, relationship, sex. No topic is off limit. Today, I have a dear friend, Dina Maayan. Did I say that right?
It's great.
It's great.
It's
Look
great.
at that. Dina knows that I should have been hooked on phonics as a child. We're going to get into it today, and this is going to be a fun, lively conversation. Dina has a love story that you definitely want to hear. She is also an expert of the body. She's a body therapist, as well as a facilitator of breath and movement. We're going to get into it. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Christina. I'm so happy to be with you.
So what do you want to talk about today in this banter between you and I? Dina is one of the most playful humans that I know. If you are currently single and dating, or if you're in a relationship and you want to liven up the experience with your partner, this is what this episode is going to do. Dina is my favorite person to play Truth or Dare with. When's the last time you played Truth or Dare?
The last time I played was with you, Christina. It was at your birthday party last April.
It was at my birthday party. You know, we play Truth or Dare at every single Love Immersion as well. It's the best game, that and Never Have I Ever. So when I play Truth or Dare, I call myself the Truth or Dare consultant. I believe it's one of the best games to access how you improv through life, to draw on creativity. And creativity is one of the highest vibrational frequencies on the planet. And even if you get stuck, if you give yourself the moment to get curious about life and take yourself back to when you were 7 years old on the playground at recess, you get to tap into that aliveness that sometimes as grown-ups, with all the seriousness of work, we get stuck in this spiral of heaviness. There's nothing to get out of heaviness than play. I remember a friend of mine shared with me that if your relationship is having challenges, you can go to therapy, which I recommend. Therapy's great. Hire a coach. I love being with a coach. Or you can inject play into your connection.
I like the latter option.
Injecting play into
all
the
of the
connection.
above are so valuable. But with you, I find even in our friendship that it is one of the pillars of it's a top value for us. And it's so effortless and easy to be in a vibration of play with you. And I think to me, it's how I measure success beyond all the other measurements of success is how often did I laugh today? And when I'm with you, that number is pretty high.
So one time, Dean and I are playing Truth or Dare with a bunch of girls at my place, and she got the dare to go to my next door neighbor with a troll pencil in hand and a clipboard and a badge from a recent conference and say that you were checking on the neighbor. You had heard that there was riffraff.
I had heard that you were a troublemaker and that you had a brothel going on in your house, that you were holding these sermons every week. And I wanted to collect some intel from her. And she went along with it. She was so spunky and funny. And I love when we come across another fellow good sport that's willing and ready to match the level of play that we embody and present. And she totally went with it. And she's like, oh yeah, that Christina. She has a lot of seances going on. I think she does have a brothel at her house every Sunday.
I loved how bold you were to accept that dare. And also, my neighbor is a typical neighbor. She's not somebody that I would run into at an ecstatic dance. She is in her 60s. Actually, I hang out with a ton of people in their 60s, so nothing wrong with any ages. But it really drew her in. And the next day she messaged me or texting about it. She had a laugh and it lit up her night as well. But most people, when you give them that type of dare, they would be fearful to accept it. And you are always hands up. Yes, I'm in. What is it about you that has you be so courageous socially?
Well, I think we both have this in common. I think there's a big opportunity to be expressed and experience what it is like to take a risk. I think in so many other areas in my life, I tend to be risk averse. And so when it comes to play, comedy, or improv, it's an environment where I can really put my mind, my knowledge, my ego to the side and just show up with boldness. And I think
Mm.
there's an element of you that brings that out in me even more. So I think it's medicine, honestly. And I've never regretted saying yes to one of your truth or dares.
You are a master of prank calls as well. I have a dream that as the Love Club grows, we will eventually initiate everyone into the club with a prank call. You're genius at those. If you were to guide someone how to give an amazing prank call to somebody, what's the instructions for that?
The formula for an exceptional prank call. I think one, you want to leverage a gift that you already have, whether it's an accent that you're really good at or some sort of obscure knowledge that you have on something extremely autistic, or yeah, just leverage what you're good at. Just own your gift. For me, it is accents. I'm like a parrot, so I can imitate almost any accent on the whole rainbow of cultures around the world. And I'm also I come from a very interesting family. Like my mom is an Arab Jew, Sephardic Jew, and my dad is Ashkenazi Jew. So I grew up with so much culture in the house, grew up speaking French, Hebrew, English, then learned Spanish. And in my past life, I was Vietnamese. So I'm leveraging my, my accents. And I think really it's just about engaging the person, asking as many questions as you can so that they're really, you've won them over at the beginning of the conversation. You're not just making it about you on the prank call. I really love to get people engaged and to have them baffled early on, but not too baffled where they're going to hang up and think it's a scam. It's kind of an art where you want to get them intrigued, know that it's silly and playful, where you're not being, an asshole and diminishing their self-esteem. Like you're elevating them. So ideally, that's the formula: is be your full silly self, leverage your gift, and don't be afraid to take a risk and go in a direction. You can be as creative as you want. Like the first thought that comes to mind, mention that and get them hooked. They're going to want to find out who you are and what the call's about. Can you think of one that we recently did that?
Well, I want to acknowledge I'm not great at accents, but I leverage when I do prank calls, silliness and just being so ridiculous. Like your imagination is coming online and you get to play with all types of possibilities. I do remember a prank call that I got from you, although it was weeks later before I discovered that it came from you. And it was between Christmas and New Year's. I was getting ready to go to bed, and this man called and he said that he was a matchmaker moving to Austin, wanted to move to Austin. Had tons of high net worth clients in the area.
I remember
And
this.
he got my number from John Mackey, who's the founder of Whole Foods. And I'm thinking, John Mackey is referring me out to somebody. Him and I haven't had a one-on-one, but okay, this is really interesting. And I was on the phone with a person, back and forth chit-chatting. He was like, I'm coming to Austin. I'm going to get a room at the proper hotel. I'll get the nicest room. If you're not in Austin, Texas, the proper hotel is like the Fuhu Hotel downtown. And he was just elaborating. He's like, I just think my clients have millions and millions of dollars. We could be partners on this. Let's go in. And I got off the phone, still not knowing if it was a prank call or not. But I had it was one of those experiences that left me pondering, and it left me in, maybe like a fascination. And it took me about 24 hours to really register. I think that was a prank call. And that formula, when you have somebody who's not quite sure whether it was a prank call or not, that's a really
You
good
think
prank
so?
call.
Because okay, I would agree with you mostly. So that was a friend of mine that executed that prank call. He has a very different style than me. I think it's even better when the reveal can, like, it's so obvious that it's a prank, but it can go over the head. In that scenario, it wasn't so obvious that it was a
Some
prank.
of
It
it
was
was
so
obvious.
believable. The
Yeah,
whole story was like pretty
but
believable.
people are pretty ridiculous these days too.
That's
So
true. You
I
never
think
know.
some people are fairly delusional at times.
Right. So letting people question their reality, basically you're gaslighting them. Is that the formula?
We like, a little level of gaslighting for sure.
Just like a homeopathic dose of gaslighting.
Yes, yes. That was a really good one. And yes, I do, when you're doing a prank call, typically you're not in your house doing prank calls alone. You have a room full of people that are gathered
Yeah.
around listening to these prank calls happen. So as a facilitator of the prank call, you have to conduct the room where the people who are there with you are enjoying. You're like moving fast. Sometimes when
Right.
you're doing prank calls and it's taking too long, you've got to actually continue to move forward and get to the punchline.
Yeah, you got to keep people super captivated the whole time. I mean,
No
the best
pressure.
way the best way is to give an example. Pretty soon we're going to come out with a channel where we're going to record, hopefully anonymously, for the first few years, and then we'll reveal ourselves. But that's the great thing about having different hats you can wear and accents that you can play with, is that you can have so many different characters. One of my favorite ones was I prank called, you know what a mohel is? Or a
No.
moil? It's the rabbi that circumcises baby boys.
Oh,
And a lot of people have a trauma with this. So I was
cutting
at
off baby dicks for sure.
baby penises, circumcision. It's horrible. And I was at my mom's house and I was looking through my brother's baby album and I saw that she kept the business card of his moil. I'm so sorry that I'm telling everyone that my brother's circumcised. I hope you don't mind. But anyways, I was like, I need to prank call this guy if he's still alive. And turns out I lost the photo I took of it, but I found another moil and it was the ultimate prank call of my life. This guy was so convinced that I basically told him I wanted my baby to have a touch up. Like, do you offer touch up services? What's going on? It's growing so fast. I'm on all these peptides. And listen, I think the baby's getting it from my breast milk and it's growing so rapidly. I don't know what to do. I just got him circumcised a few months ago. Do you do touch ups? And he went with it. And my intention was for it to be so ridiculous that he would know it was a joke. But apparently, it was a good business opportunity.
It was a great business opportunity. So not everybody likes prank calls, we've learned. We have some friends who refuse to hang out with us if we're prank calling people.
Is that so?
Yeah, we do. We have some of these friends.
Oh,
Yes.
tell me who.
Oh,
We
we
can't
can't
name
reveal their
names.
names. It's a
Tell me
couple.
later.
It's a couple that we really love. There's no
Yeah.
prank callings.
Okay.
And however, even if you have friends who don't like prank calling, don't let it stop you.
Yeah.
This is where the courage to be disliked and the need for validation gets to get wiped away.
Well, in your heart, and you can always preface it before doing a prank call. I don't think I've ever offended anyone that I know of, but I think prefacing it with the purpose of this is joy and to elevate and uplift the person that we're prank calling. And I'm a big believer in being able to, everything's fair game when it comes to comedy. Like, be unoffensible.
We also have some friends who are fearful of playing truth or dare with us too.
That's true.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your brother is a wizard, and our relationship, our friendship, to me, was officiated at a party.
Mhm.
You had just relocated to Austin, Texas from Hawaii, and you gave me a tour of the house. And I remember thinking, I really like this girl. She's fun. I want to know her better. And I've already know of her brother. And after that party, I went on Etsy and I was looking around. I want to send them a gift. I want to send them a gift to let them know how much I enjoy them. And I found, and something for your new home because you're coming to Austin. And I found, what is it?
A
A
horseshoe is so
horseshoe,
sweet.
a horseshoe, and the significance around the horseshoe. And I had it mailed out to the two of you. And to me, giving gifts or receiving gifts, but I love giving gifts
Mm.
is one of my love languages. And I see as when you're officiating friendships, because there is some like when you're starting a new story with a new friend, and it's rare that I do that these days. I wish I had more time to have more friends, but because I'm, you know, startup founder, WeDeepen, although it's 10 years in the making, it, there's moments of big growth happening right now. And so the friendships that I do have, or even every interaction is they're pieces of memorable moments, but that was sending you that gift was a saying, "Hey, I want you in my life and we're going to be friends." And it's been so easy being your friend ever since.
That was really sweet. I loved our origin story, and I felt the same way. Upon meeting you, I felt so much intrigue and ease in the way that we shared stories and talked about love. Got to hear your love story and was so moved and inspired by that. And that gift was a gesture of you investing in the friendship and in the budding friendship that is now, it's like a full grown garden that we are growing and gardening. And I've been really grateful to call you a friend here, as this is a new-ish city for me. And I lived in Hawaii for the last 12 years, left behind my community there, still have such a strong connection to my friends in Ohana there. But meeting you was, it was fun to experience another quality human being, quality woman that what I noticed the first time meeting you was you were so transparent and vulnerable and authentic,
Mm.
so real. And that can be refreshing when you're, in a society that there tends to be a lot of power dynamics and just different posturing going on in Austin. So I felt so at home with you.
Mm. Do you have expectations around friendship?
I think everyone has their own friendship style, which I'm learning. My friendship style tends to be really secure. And whatever I get, like if I have a great bond with someone, I'm not insecure about that bond and the trust is there. There's takes very little for trust to be broken, takes a lot to build true trust, but when it comes to like how much time we spend together, how often I'm receiving communication, I feel really safe and secure if that amount and that number is very little. Because when we're in person, when we're with each other and the energy is so clear and clean and beautiful and expansive, to me, that's everything. But I know some people really do require a lot more consistent communication and investment in other ways. So it really just, it depends on the friendship and where it's at in its cycle.
Friend is such a like a subjective word. Like there's friend, there's acquaintance, there's close friend, there's best friend. We are part of, this quote unquote conscious community. There's a huge conscious community that moves from Austin to LA to Hawaii to Costa Rica of really amazing, interesting people. I say that the Dunbar number is an anthropologist, Robin Dunbar, says that the human brain can only handle between 100 to 200 connections or 150 people on average. And he does this like circle graph where, there's you know, 5 people, the people that you hang out with and interact with most, say your significant other, maybe a work colleague or parent child. And then there's an outer ring, which includes another 15 people. And these are the people that you're interacting more on like a monthly basis. And then there's an external, another ring of about 35 people. And then the rest of, the 100 to 200 people. How do you, as you're so personable, how do you navigate interacting with so many people on a regular basis?
For me, I choose to spend a lot of my time alone or with my fiancé and our 2 cats. I don't spend a lot of time with other people. I'm really discerning with who I choose to spend my time with. And that's because in a way, metaphorically, I feel like I'm married to the person I'm with and their vibration and what they're emanating. And so I do my best to be really specific with the quality of relationships and the time that is spent with humans, which makes the relationships that I have even that much more special and meaningful. And the opportunity to have those deep, honest conversations with, people in your inner circle really expands because you don't have time for games, you don't have time for small talk or the mundane, hi, how are you? It's just go deep or go to sleep. And I tend to really thrive with those types of friendships and relationships. And it, yeah, to me, my relationships are everything. It's the meaning of life. And the reality is we only have so much time to, metabolize, sleep, crush your goals, dream, um, spend time at home. And the time that I have left to share with individuals, it's oftentimes spent really prioritizing growth and expansion. Like we will go on walks together, hikes, we'll work out together, we'll co-work. It'll be intentionally crafted time.
At this stage in my life, my friendships are all fairly productive oriented, meaning that they're growth oriented, and we get together and play. There's an injection of aliveness that comes through of creativity. And, or if I'm, hiking or doing something that's active and nurturing for my soul. But you're right, there's limited time, and I would love to have more time to spend nearly with every single person on the planet. I mean, every single person on the planet has a really interesting story, and we can relate. There's a oneness to all of us. And although time is an illusion, there is a real component to it as well.
Mm.
And which also, too, I love about WeDeepen and Love Club is that I get to witness the relationships that are being formulated and connecting with me, connecting with each other. I was one of those kids that I loved when my friends became friends. And I rarely ever got concerns that I was going to be left out afterwards because I'm like, I can sit at home and do things on my own, or I can come out and play with you. But like, I'm happy that you two are having a really good time together. Love, you, uh, so it's so fun. By the way, if you're listening to this episode with Dina, the next episode released afterwards is going to be with her significant other, Jason Nemer. Your origin story. Talk about origin stories of when two people meet. You have that with friendships, and you also have that with romantic partners. Now your fiance. This story has many different layers to it, from the box, right?
Yeah.
To mangoes. How did you and Jason meet?
Oh, it's such a good story. It's a juicy story. I was living in Hawaii at the time and I couldn't sleep for nights. I had this deep feeling that if I didn't go to Austin, my life wouldn't be the same. I got invited to my brother's birthday with the intention to just really celebrate him and connect with him. I show up and there's about 8 of his best guy friends gathered in a room full of squish. The ground is completely squishy.
Explain what squish is.
Squish is a Tempur-Pedic foam covered in sheepskin and white, soft, fuzzy blankets. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. At every love immersion, we definitely vibe it out. I know at
Yes.
your events, Dina, you do a lot of great events,
Oh,
by the way.
yes.
You always bring squish. If you're in a conscious community event, when you hear the word squish, this is what it means.
So
There's a lot of
funny.
cuddle puddles that are happening in squish, and
Yes.
you don't have to be part of a cuddle puddle to be in squish either.
That's right. We're going to add squish to Webster's dictionary.
We definitely do.
So I walk in the kitchen, and I had smuggled mangoes from my tree in Hawaii, which, if you know, ag check is really strict. They check every bag you have. I had to smuggle them in my bra, in my pockets, in my hoodie. And I was committed to bringing these mangoes because they were 10 out of 10. So sweet, so good. The kind that's just all meat, no fiber, and like barely any pit. So I had to bring these as a gift to my brother and his friends. And so I'm unloading these mangoes in his kitchen, and I'm like telling my brother, Daniel, I risked jail time to bring you these mangoes. And then Jason comes up to me and he says, Oh, I actually have mango smuggling on my record. I can't get TSA pre-check because of it. So we're the exact same kind of criminal. And that was our first conversation. And we also really bonded over our shared love for my brother, Daniel, who is my favorite human being. And our conversation was just so deep. We geeked out about science and traveling and bad words in different languages. Like every topic we covered it. There was so much synergy and effortless connection. And I felt something. I could tell that there was a vibe going. And it wasn't the right timing because I was still processing a relationship that was completing. And so I had my boundaries up. I let him know I'm still in a relationship that's in the process of completion, and it's time, maybe there's another time where we can have deeper connection. But right now I'm just going to claim some boundaries. He was very enthusiastic about saying, Oh, I have a crush on your sister, Daniel, just putting me on blast. It was very sweet. And I really liked how forward he was.
Did you think it was hot too?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And so fast forward, I went back to Hawaii. I bought a piece of property, a little like forest in Volcano National Park. And he was in Uruguay looking at land with my brother. So we were both on a similar mission to get land. He texts me, we connect on a phone call, and he's like, Hey, can I come and pee on your land? I want to come see you. I'm like, yes, that is a great way to flirt. And we have been flirting in Borat accent the whole time. It was really sweet. We both really love Borat. And so he comes to visit me in Hawaii. And years before that, I wrote a list of 100 qualities that I wanted in a partner. The number 2 quality on that list was must climb coconut trees. So I wanted someone that was, not afraid to get his hands dirty, that could provide and be connected to the land in a way that's very masculine. And that's a big turn on for me. And so he didn't know about this list. But on our first date, we were paddleboarding with a pod of dolphins in Kealakekua Bay. And he
That's
climbs.
a first date to top. Hard to top.
I know. Hard to top that. He climbs a coconut tree when we get out of the water, grabs a coconut, and 1 or 2 hits, smashes it on a rock, pours it in my face, and that was our first kiss. So he climbs coconut trees. On his end, the confirmation for him was when he came back to Austin. He had been calling in his queen for like a few months before meeting me. He was ready to find his wife and just really commit to a life partner. And he had a friend tell him to do this ritual because the mind, subconscious, really registers symbols to call in his future wife. So he found a box from a thrift store and put 5 items that represented his future wife. And he'll tell you what those items were, but they all represented me. And when he got back home, he looked at the box on the altar, and it's a wood carved box that has 2 dolphins on it and says Aloha Hawaii on the box. He called in his aloha, his mermaid, his Hawaiian future wife, and it was confirmation for both of us. And so fast forward, I moved to Austin, and we are building a legacy together, about to get married next year.
I love you use the word that you're building a legacy together. It has been what, nearly how many years?
It's been
Since
3 years.
three
Yep.
years. And has it been easy?
Easy? No, it has not been easy. There's aspects of relationship that are so easeful. Oh my gosh, like our flow together, we really are so aligned on so many levels to the point where it's telepathic. He'll say things that I'm thinking, I'll say things that he's thinking. For example, those are levels of ease and alignment that's there. But easy, I wouldn't describe any relationship that I've had as easy. It's been different levels of growth that were proportionate to my level of self-love and growth on my soul's journey. And if anything, I feel like this has been the most aligned partnership of my
Mm.
life. But definitely there have been challenges, which I'm grateful for as part of my philosophy that I don't choose to just talk about, but I'm working on embodying this is that whatever challenge we have is the greatest opportunity to share our service and contribution to humanity. So when we do have a challenge, I'm like, well, what is what is this for? This is a huge opportunity for my growth and to unlock my genius and my gifts. Um, whether it's lack of coherent communication or just sometimes we trigger each other and that's not easy. Not having steadiness, like there's an aspect of both of us that love adventure and travel and saying yes to wild opportunities and something that's constantly growing and shifting now that we're saying yes to more stability and certainty in our life is,
Mm.
well, how can we ground in the things that will make our life feel easy, like buying a house, getting maybe getting chickens, hatching our eggs, you know?
I have I had a moment with Jason. I've gotten to attend twice now one of the two of yours exclusive parties. Maybe Jason will get in that. We'll get in about the body party if he'll let me tell listeners about the body party. But him and I was registering for it, and it is an exclusive event. It's over 5,000 to attend. And on a call with him when we were, when I was in the registration process and also sharing about how, because the body party is one of the peak experiences to have. And when I have a peak experience, I want to run out and tell everybody, you should have this experience too. And he said to me, I'm seeking to buy a house. And it was one of the most, like, almost like breathtaking moments to hear from somebody about why they're passionate about what they're doing. And it has a bigger purpose to create grounding for a relationship and for a family and for a soul, to acknowledge that this work is providing something bigger for me and for, because I know that you and Jason have a home is going to bring more people together. It's the legacy, it's supporting of that legacy. And I encourage other people, like, really share when you are um, promoting or speaking out about the work that you're doing in the world, to state the intention around it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's such an honest, also a vulnerable thing to do because it's so natural to focus on the value that you provide first and foremost and to, in a way, not talk about what it means for you, what the financial gain means for you. It's not common to hear that. And so I find that to be so honest and in a way it can benefit everyone else around you when you share what your personal goals are and having a house, having a home is something that a lot of people benefit from besides the people that live there.
And also the person who, is the one who is buying the ticket or sharing the event with others. I want to have a home myself and want other people to have homes for themselves too. So as we support each other in entrepreneurship, beyond the corporate framework, you know, I look at what we're up to in the world is the true, real medicine. Like the biohacking conference, which both of us were there at, and it's so magnificent. There's so much education and information and products and goods that are supportive having a healthy life. And also, my belief is that the real medicine is in the connection with the people. And to be reminded of that, like not big shiny thing, but that we're supporting each other in our relationships, in our growth, in having more fun and play inside of our lives. You also mentioned of alignment, that you and this is the most aligned partnership that you've had. And you've seen me, you've witnessed my intimacy journey. I like to say your intimacy journey is your life story. And all of us, we're in that together while, we deepen, we bring top love and relationship experts and facilitators that will support you in aligning to love. We're all on our own journey as well. And you have been my friend as I navigated heartbreak before. And now I'm seeking an aligned partnership as well. And I wrote a prayer. And prayer, as I can see even your story, your origin story had so much uh, specialness and writing the list down and the box and being intentional about drawing in or attracting our right partner without getting lost in the importance of it, the putting like excess importance in it. So it's like you can speak it out, have those desires, play with it, because all that is part of the play. Writing lists is part of the play. Having the little token box is part of the play. Um, and then letting go. So my
Yeah.
prayer, I'm going to share. Do you want to
Can
hear
you
my
share? I
prayer
was
for
going to
aligned
ask you
love?
to share it.
Okay, yes. Here's my prayer for aligned love. I hope I can remember it all. I honor the love that is. I release the need to know or control. I choose growth, truth, peace, and courage. When we align, may it be divine. I trust the field. I trust the timing. I trust myself. I am in relationship with my higher self. I am in relationship with my highest match, a partner, a family man, a shared home, where love expands in all directions. Thank you. I love you.
What an exquisite prayer.
Right? I started saying that about 6 months ago. And sometimes before going to bed, I'll just
Mhm.
recite it in my head. Sometimes I'll forget about it completely and then I'll be reminded of it and start to speak it. Sometimes I'll sit at my altar and share the prayer. And having something that is continuing to show God, universe, creator, the quantum, whatever you believe, that you're open to love is what I believe draws it in. And I'm really excited this week in actually the Love Club, or next week in the Love Club. We have a session on reality transurfing. There's a reality transurfing expert, Owen Hunt, who's going to come in and give a workshop on that. And I see this piece as part of how we slide to the new timeline of what we so desire to create and have in our life.
Mhm. I'm so excited for you to experience the outcome of that prayer and knowing that it comes from a place of already truly being aligned with your mission and the service that you are in this line of work to teach people how to connect deeper and to be open to love. You are such an example of that prayer,
Mm.
even as a single woman. And it's so incredible.
What was it like to support me in moving through a breakup?
Hmm. To support you moving through that, I mean, it was so tender. It was so tender. And I feel like your mindset, your attitude was so genuinely positive throughout the whole experience. Like you weren't polarized, which is amazing. You were not in a victim state at all. You were so empowered through it. And yeah, it was uncomfortable. It sucked. It was painful, but still you embodied the elements that, we're talking about of growth and accountability so beautifully. I was quite inspired by how you handled that because not everybody does endings well. Not everybody navigates pain and wounding, with finesse. And I could tell that you've really devoted your life to the path of growth based on how you handled that.
I was really appreciative of how you showed up as a friend and a
Mm.
fairly new friend at that time. One of the things that I, now looking back on it, can see how you were actually feeling, in some sense, everything that I was feeling in those moments. Where when I would get excited that, oh, we're going to connect again, or we're going to get back together, or no, no, no. Like you could sense where I was energetically and also could tune into what was healthy and what was not so much. Like you rode the wave of excitement when of possibility that something would shift or change within his and I dynamic. And also, you had you were able to reality check me at times. You were, it's such an art form to be able to be a witness to the dynamics from an outsider perspective and to be able to see both sides of how people are navigating and then also tune into what you're seeing there and know when to ride with me in the okay, we're done. Like, it's done. Yes, we're done. And we agree that it's done. Not that I necessarily need validation for it, but that reflection is what you provided, even in that moment of one of a last big event that we were together when I had tears in my eyes. And it was an event where it was my birthday. It's actually my birthday. And my intention, when you're like, what's your birthday intention? And my intention was like, I'm really done that and moving on to this and with tears in my eyes. And you always ask even the best questions that when you even first asked me what my intention was that day, I was like, I'm not ready to share. Give me a moment. And it was a few hours later that I was able to share that intention with you so tenderly with those tears in my eyes and you to be able to receive it and be like, yes, I got you. Yes, I agree. Let's do it. Thank you for that.
Thank you for the trust. And I feel so honored that I got to see that chapter in your life. And every relationship is so sacred and so meaningful and adds to your story. And so this one was a big part of your story, and the way you navigated it with so much courage. I listened to your heart, your deepest desires as you talked about love, the things that you were calling in, your values, the truest truth of Christina. I've listened to those deepest desires, and I was merely just there to remind you what it is that you wanted and that you could have it.
Mm.
And sometimes that's the most important thing, is just to reinforce you you can actually have that dream. That dream doesn't have to end just because the relationship has expired or it wasn't a true fit. You can continue to invest in that dream and trust that it's going to happen with the right match.
Or we graduate from it. We
Yes.
graduate from that dynamic. And it was interesting when that relationship ended. It was around the time where I started studying reality transurfing. And it was when I was acknowledging these bigger desires that I knew in my heart of true love is possible. I wake up every morning and now, it did take, it's probably for me nearly a year since the end of that relationship. And I went through those crunchy granola times. I went through that phase where it was hard for me to get off my biomat. It was, um, my brain, I was talking to AI and friends and processing through. And now to be on the other side of that and have so much clarity and so much expansion happening in life that it's a reminder that you will move through it and get through it. And I had inside of the relationship, how I knew it was time for me to go is that I was feeling trapped.
Mhm.
I wake up every day believing, you know, pre that feeling like I was trapped, and then now post it of the world is my oyster. The world is your oyster. You can have anything you desire if you're willing to sacrifice instant gratification and put long-term fulfillment as the goal. So I knew going through that painful process and the uncomfortability, all that, that it was for the vision of true love, which is the greatest game of all time. And when you're going to play a game, because life, life is a game. We were playing a game. You were enrolling allies to play the game with you. And playing the game of true love, it is going to require you to feel all the feelings, and they're going to come up and you get to feel them and move through them. And it's a deep commitment to yourself. And that's true. Now, on the other side of it, I feel so free. You will feel free if you are going through something that is holding you back in some way. The freedom is around the corner. And again, play along the way, as well as stopping to breathe and acknowledging your breath and just being in that moment. Which takes me to breath. You're a facilitator of breath, and you teach people. Not only do you provide breathwork experiences, you teach facilitators to guide groups and individuals through breathwork, which has become all the rage these days, breathwork. When did you start adding breath to Dina's toolbox of what you offer out in the world?
Well, I was 6 years old when I had my first panic attack, and that sucked. It took me years to, as you talk about feeling your feelings, I had this inherent belief there was something wrong with me my whole life that I needed to fix or reject, and I realized I had it all wrong. It wasn't going to improve my reality by just rejecting this aspect of myself that felt afraid or resistant to feeling fear. And my first introduction to breathwork was actually in an ER when I thought I was dying. I was 6 years old, and they taught me how to breathe out of a brown bag. So it was not as romanticized as breathwork that we're referring to, but it's been really the totem pole of practices for me that create nervous system leadership, which is what my little girl, my inner child was looking for at the time. I was looking for an alpha, a leader that could really tell me in a nonverbal way that I was safe, to show me that I was safe. And really, it's an inside job. So, yeah, breathwork is definitely it is an epidemic, and there's definitely a lot of noise around facilitation, which is why I'm really passionate about distilling the science and mysticism and teaching foundations that are really holistic and ethical to give birth to human beings that are powerful leaders that know how to walk into a room full of nervous systems and see that that's what's happening. We're in a room full of nervous systems, and we're constantly worried, like, are you going to like me? Am I accepted here? And to be able to see that innocence in a room, but also to remember how to lead your own nervous system. And from that place, you can really establish trust. So really, it's a practice of trust. That's the facilitation aspect. And with the practice itself, it's a practice of trusting your lungs with the breath holds, this marker of longevity when we hold our breath on full or on empty. These retentions are really showing us how we can have deeper trust with our minds and our bodies. But also, there's something so beyond the physiological aspect of it that I love so much, because I am also choosing to be sober, and psychedelics, are a chapter for me right now. I really love the being able to be catapulted into a higher state of consciousness using a source of energy that's completely endogenous, that is your breath that you have control over that could change your state in a minute. And so I've been playing with these techniques as a playground. This is a lot of fun. Let's see what it does, but also as a spiritual practice of how do I build more trust with myself? Because that is the antidote to anxiety and fear, is having confidence to be able to trust yourself and to trust life. And so that's the name of the game. And that's why I love it so much.
I love how you mentioned you're sober as well. And I have a secret. Okay. We're recording this podcast in July of 2026, and New Year's is in 6 months. And we're considering throwing the hottest sober 3-day New Year's party. And if we do, you must be involved. You must come facilitate breathwork, but you've got to be there. That is going to be a sober 3-day event.
That sounds like the next level of New Year's Eve parties. Let's go. Let's do
Let's
this.
go.
I'm so happy. Okay.
Taking over Havan and doing those 3 days there.
That sounds absolutely amazing, Christina.
Right, with your little bit of Yosef Sagi, with maybe a mystery temple or kinky classroom, Yada Ixo, Unleash, guiding us right into the new year, some authentic relating, some meditation.
Some prank calls, maybe?
Prank calls, for sure. We'll do some prank calls and some truth or dare.
Live comedy.
It'll be some live comedy, all 100% sober. I love the medicine scene in Austin, Texas, and it'll be wonderful to have some alternatives to that and to blast off into a new year completely sober with so many friends, new friends, old friends, being in play, being led, having free time. Fuck yes.
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
in.
yes. That sounds absolutely exceptional. Count me in.
Now, we didn't get into this on this podcast. This can be another show. You'll have to come back. Gene Keys. You are also educated in Gene Keys and facilitate Gene Key readings. Give us, I know the Gene Keys are getting into a deep body of work, but how do you utilize Gene Keys when you're supporting somebody's nervous system and activating them into their highest, greatest potential?
Yeah, the Gene Keys, the philosophy of the Gene Keys itself is, I think, like I said earlier, is my greatest totem pole of my foundation for how I interface with life. And it's so simple. I'll distill it in really simple terms for the sake of time. Your greatest struggle or challenge in life, whatever comes your way, whether it's illness or heartbreak or financial stress or, bad misfortune, whatever challenge you have in life has an opportunity equivalent to the challenge to become your greatest gift, to emancipate you from that struggle into unlocking your genius. And adopting that perspective gives you a sense of power, takes you out of that urge to, sometimes we like to be in a victim state of consciousness of like, why is this happening to me? But it's a really powerful reminder that we get to alchemize the circumstance, and it's a discovery process. What is this for? What is this here to teach me? How can I grow from this? How can I be the most magnificent woman or man version of myself from this experience? And lastly, the service to humanity, like having panic attacks since I was 6 years old. That really sucked. But if I was like ruminating my entire life and having the belief of, oh, I need to fix this, there's something wrong with me, I would be in that victim state, and the possibility for growth wouldn't be present. Versus when I found the Gene Keys and learned how you can actually use these challenges to help other people, to help yourself, to find peace, and to explore what your genius is. And so now the very thing that I was resisting my whole life is a thing that I help thousands of people master, which is the nervous system, the breath, like the leadership of the mind and having autonomy of yourself to build trust. And that is really the antidote. So I love helping people discover what that is in, the trials that life sometimes gives us.
If somebody had listened to something in this podcast, maybe it's around panic attacks, maybe it's on nervous system regulation, what can they come to you? How can they come to you to invest in Dina? What you're up to? Is there a course? Is there a working privately? Is there another raging epic party you're going to throw and host soon?
I'm available for one-on-one coaching. I have a few spots for that. I have a Breath of Life teacher training. It's a facilitator training. That's 30 hours in September 5th through 27th. That's coming up, and we'll post the links to credentials and website and all that. But I really look forward to being of service to anyone that really feels touched by the work of nervous system, overcoming anxiety, and just learning how to facilitate breath work with more finesse.
You've also been to a WeDeepen Love Immersion, 2 of them.
Yes.
What was your experience
Oh my
like
goodness.
there?
The love immersion is absolutely one of my favorite experiences of all time because you get to mastermind your love life and you're around some of the most exceptional coaches and brilliant minds,
Including
especially,
you.
thank you, especially if you're cerebral and heart centered. You have both. You have being able to lean into the heart. There's no judgment there. There's like, as soon as you walk through the door, you are so held and loved, and people really are there to support you and be cheerleaders for your love story, especially with yourself. And so I have felt so much value added to my life from the 2 love immersions that I've attended. And I'm so excited to continue deepening with you, Christina.
Deepening with me with WeDeepen. Thank you, Dina. You are one of the most uplifting friends and humans. It doesn't even make a difference how long you've known somebody. You put anybody in front of you right now, and you are going to do whatever it is, whatever tool that you have in your toolbox to support them and to be so present with them in those moments. I love how you show up in spaces there to give and be of service. And that is what true contribution, when somebody is seeking belonging, that is how you find belonging really quickly, is that you come with your superpower, or you discover that, or you're curious about those in front of you and around you and present with them. And then you become an additive. True community is, you have a real community when you miss somebody when they're not there. And I miss you when you're not around.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Thank you for being on this first episode of Deepen with Christina. Before we go, though, I'm going to do one round, just one round of truth or dare.
All right, I'm game.
Okay, Dina. And this is, if you're listening, we are going to improv truth or dare right now. I just had one of my colleagues put up a sign, and he's like, play truth or dare. We're going to go into it. Okay, Dina, truth or dare?
Truth.
Truth. What is something that you could reveal right now that would be edgy to share about, but also make someone feel as though they're not alone in their own thought process?
I think I want to speak to the word of humiliation and embarrassment because I think it's something that many of us have experienced. That's like we're human. Of course, we're going to get embarrassed from time to time, like, especially if we're quirky. But I feel like it's so hard to own it or let people know when you're embarrassed. I will admit that there were times in this conversation where I felt I didn't properly represent myself. And it was a self-judgment and self-criticism. Um, there was a couple moments where I felt a little bit embarrassed. Like, oh, what if I'm coming across as arrogant? Like, this is not how I feel. I really love everyone, just and it doesn't matter because people are going to judge us whether we like it or not. It's part of the human experience, but still, as a human being, I still feel that occasional embarrassment of like the whole communication thing of precise language and how we're just so complex. And at the end of the day, if we can just all remember that nobody's really thinking to judge you. We're caught up in our own stories of self and pain and wounding, and that it's okay to be so human and silly. And I want to let that known to people that even though we're public speakers, both of us get on stage and we're eloquent and it's common to have moments of being really caught off guard and blank, and that's okay. We don't have to be a constant channel and stream 24/7.
What I love about Truth or Dare, it also gives us the ability to resonate more with each other because, embarrassment and humiliation, there was some part of me that during my previous breakup, I had felt a bit embarrassed and humiliated by that experience because it was somewhat somewhat public. My sense of belonging was rocked, and I was processing some of my emotions in social circles, and I wasn't quite sure who knew what, and it created a sense of embarrassment inside of me. And then there was also times during this podcast too where I'm thinking, oh, your voice is going too high at this moment, or maybe you should calm down a little bit or be a little bit more relaxed. And I was witnessing you, and sometimes because, we're all each other's mirrors, and I'm thinking, I'll be a little bit more like Dina during this podcast.
I was thinking the same thing in my head. You were a nervous system anchor for me. I'm like, whoa, I thought this was my job, but here we are mirrors. We were co-regulating
Each other. Cool. Okay, I'll have to take a dare.
Okay.
And
Truth or dare?
Dare. I don't know how you're going to dare me in something because we're in a seat right now.
Am I allowed to be dirty on this podcast, or is it like G-rated?
We're PG-13 are sometimes.
Okay.
XX times. What do you want? Try me.
Okay, I dare you, Christina, to pretend the mic is 3 boyfriends ago. So this is the scrotum, and then this is the shaft, and just show us what you would do with it.
Oh my gosh. I really hope my podcast agency doesn't clip this clip right here.
This is one of those moments where you have to switch to YouTube to watch the podcast. Okay, and pretend it's his birthday.
By the way, we've got to see which. You said 3 boyfriends ago, because there was one boyfriend where I would torture it completely. I would just like grab it. Take it and pull the bus.
Assignment. You nailed it. That's a 10 out of 10. A+.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so good. Fun. So fun. Okay, on that note, this was such a great podcast episode. Dina's first time on Deepen with Christina. I love you so much. Thank you for listening to another episode of Deepen with Christina. And while you're here playing with Dina and I by listening to this show. What we really enjoy most is coming and being with you in person. You have to listen to the episode after with Dina's boyfriend, now fiance. Now that you've met Dina, Jason Nemer is up next. And you've got to come play with us in person, because this is all fun and games, but being together in real life, whether that's a virtual WeDeepen mastermind or an in-person gathering, that's where the true magic happens. This is magical as well. I'm sure you had some insight, some breakthrough, some thought-provoking idea. Maybe you'll come back to us and bring a solid truth or dare. I dare you. I'd love to see you in person. Rate this podcast. Follow it. Until next time. Bye now.